we needed a better way to consistently set up machines that were new for clients, but actually had all the software on them that they needed and configured without that taking hours and hours of manual time. I'm Dimitri Rodis, founder and partner of Integrita Systems. I just so happen to have been browsing through the Screen Connect extension marketplace in August of 2020. And there was a new extension in there that was called ImmyBot. And it had a little picture of a robot. And I said, geez, what's this? When I took and Google searched it and I saw the basics of what it could do on the website at the time, I was intrigued, because that was something that I always wanted, was setting up new computers without imaging, because we had run the gamut on setting up new computers with images, using checklists, using base OS images for certain models of computers that we sold the most often. When I signed up for a demo with Darren, he was doing the demo calls in 2020 personally at that time. And he started to explain, well, we want to use PowerShell scripts in order to do these basic functions, and that ImmyBot applies the logic based on your desired state of these items in order to decide which scripts to execute. And when he described how all this worked to me, I says, Darren, honestly, this is exactly the kind of thing that I was looking to write myself. And some of the very basic things that we were doing to take care of immediate client needs, things that our RMM couldn't and wouldn't do on any immediate basis, we've been resorting to running PowerShell scripts through Screen Connect, because running PowerShell scripts through Screen Connect executes nearly immediately. And we're able to accomplish those things there, where if we did it with our RMM, it's, well, okay, sometime between the next 30 minutes and the next 2 hours, this software should install, or you should receive this new configuration. Not only did clients think that was weird, we thought that was incredibly weird. The things that ImmyBot allows us to do are several, but the most common situation is, hey, we're setting up a new computer for client. What belongs on that computer? And the difficulty that we always had with any other solution previously was that it was time consuming and manual and was never done consistently. How a machine was set up largely depended on who did it. Somebody would go out to install one to a client, and then they'd come back and say, you forgot to do X, Y, or Z, and I had to sit out there and do it, and I was supposed to be out of there in 20 minutes. We were able to start utilizing ImmyBot to actually solve problems or do things live for clients. As Darren would say, if you tell ImmyBot to do something, it'll do it right meow. And that was one of the problems with our RMM, was even though we may have had a script or a job or an item to do something in the RMM, if a customer needed something or a client needed something in the immediate, you're on the phone with them and you have a standard way to do something and you can't use it without telling them to wait 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, you end up doing those things by hand. By utilizing ImmyBot, you could go in and say, I want to install this new piece of software that this client needs or wants right now, without having to have somebody manually do things. There are some others, that I know of that started to refer to ImmyBot as the Ticket Crusher 5000, because you were able to very rapidly get through things that the client needed either on a scheduled or on an immediate basis, because you could tell it to do it and it would. So the funny story about how I started doing the consulting and the onboarding calls for ImmyBot is basically just goes back to a time where Darren was the only one at ImmyBot doing these calls, getting people onboarded and helping them out. And, part of the point of him doing some of those things was discovering the tools that MSPs were needing and building up the repository in ImmyBot. And that's one of the reasons he wanted contributors. Darren was going on a bit of a vacation with his wife, and he approached me and says, "Hey, I've got a calendar full of calls. I'd really like you to do calls for us in addition to just being a repository maintainer and contributor. Would that be something you're willing to do?" And I says, "Well, I can certainly cover for you while you're gone. Well, let's see." It was back to back for a couple of weeks. Darren was just coming back from his vacation. He sends me a screenshot with a spike in the chargebeat graph and says, "OMG." And I responded back to him in Teams, "Well, is that good or bad?" And he says, "It is good. It's really good. What on earth did you tell these people?" And I responded, "The truth. ImmyBot is a tool that I have so much passion for. I rather enjoy helping people see the value that it can bring, to them and their clients, because it's hard to set up new machines. It's hard to install some of this software. When I say hard, it's tedious and time consuming. And to take and have a system that can do all of those things for you and give your customers, your clients, better experience with you as an MSP, I rather enjoy, being able to show people the how and the why you want to do these things with ImmyBot as opposed to other tools.